Hi, nobodies. Um, Today I went to my vape shop, and when I walked in, the lady that was working the vape shop. One thing I love about going in there is like where I go, they know about every product they sell, and they know about like threats to vaping, laws that are coming into effect, and all that kind of thing. So it's really nice to go in there. Anyway, she was talking about the next possible governor of Arkansas because Asa Hutchinson cannot be governor again when it comes time. Arkansas is a red state. And the candidate she was talking about is a Republican. And he's probably going to get into the governor's seat because there's a bunch of retards in Arkansas. I'm not saying all Republicans are retards. I'm just saying that a lot of the Republicans I know are retards. And once again, as I said in another video, when I say retards, I am talking about I'm retarded, okay? Everybody in my family is retarded when it comes to certain things. We're just retarded. And I look at, like, when you say, I don't do something, so you shouldn't do it, like, I don't drink, so you shouldn't drink, that's retarded thinking. To say stuff like that, that I don't do this, you shouldn't either. No. I'm all for rights and everything, because I am a liberal and a libertarian. Okay, well, this new guy, he wants to outlaw vaping in Arkansas. And I'm so sick of them attacking vaping. Okay, it's bad enough I can't have shit mailed to my home anymore. And they try to say that it's because kids are vaping, like teenagers and shit. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 12. Okay? When I was 13, my dad would buy me a pack a week. He would actually go into the store and purchase them for me. Kids are going to do what they want to do. Now, I smoked cigarettes for over 20 years, okay? And I had the scary habit of I never developed a smoker's cough. See, the smoker's cough is actually a good thing. That means some of that shit that's in cigarettes is getting out of your body. I never developed a smoker's cough. So that shit was staying in. I guess I was suppressing it like I suppress my emotions. So anyway, when I quit smoking cigarettes, and it was a very vain reason to quit, my reason for switching to vaping is like I tried quitting smoking tons of times. I'm mentally ill. Mentally ill people have a really hard time quitting because we generally tend to have this whole like self-harm thing going on, and cigarettes are self-harm. Plus, gives us something to do, gives us a purpose, helps us socialize. There's like a ton of psychosomatic reasons why it's really hard for us to quit. And so much of our day revolves around when we smoke. So I knew that quitting smoking has never worked, no matter what I tried. So I did my research on vaping, and of course there's two sides to it. It's kind of like if you look up whether you should be drinking milk. If you look up whether you should be drinking milk, you're going to get two differing opinions. Some are going to say, oh, you need to drink milk all day long. You need more milk, the vitamin D and blah, 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 and the calcium and, and all this. And then on the other side, they've got people saying, well, it causes acne. America's the highest consumer and has the highest percentage of people with osteoporosis, whereas places where they stop drinking milk at the eight when they're weaned off of the breast, they don't have osteoporosis. And just various things. You'll see two sides of it, and it's the same way with vaping. They'll say, "Oh, well, this popcorn lung and stuff." There's tons of various horror stories. There's also the whole "it blew up." Well, if you do your research, if you talk to your vape people, this is why it's important to go into vape stores. If you talk to them, they are very knowledgeable about the equipment that they sell and how you're supposed to use it and where you're supposed to take it. And like a lot of times when the bad stuff happens, it's because somebody is using their equipment improperly. It's just like any other tool. You can fuck shit up. I mean, even you take a damn lighter, you can do all kinds of shit with a damn lighter if you don't use it properly. I mean, hell, I was putting smiley faces on my ankle with a Bic when I was a kid. That's not how it's supposed to be used. You can get injured if you use things wrong. And a lot of times that's what it is just like improper equipment or using it improperly, like you've got the wrong wattage. That's why it's important to know, to have like vape professionals tell you, okay, well, here's how you do this. And they really don't mind telling you because they want the whole world to vape. When I switched though, here's the thing. Like, I switched for kind of a vain reason. I did not want to smell like cigarettes. I would go to the gym and put on gym clothes, and then I'd get a shower, and put my street clothes back on, and would smell smoke on me. And I would say, well, damn, I didn't smoke in the car. I've been smoking outside. I should not smell like smoke. But I could smell it. When I quit smoking and switched to vaping, I could smell things. Now, at first, it's very disconcerting because you tend to smell stuff you don't want to smell. It's bad. And I started tasting things, like really tasting them, and I didn't have to put like a shit ton of salt on it either. Because I used to have to really salt stuff. And now I don't have to. Caffeine hits you hard when you switch or just quit. If you quit smoking, and a lot of people don't even really realize that it's the fact that you're not smoking that's caused it to where, you're like, I used to be able to drink a whole pot of coffee and now one cup gets me kind of jittery. Yeah, it's that tobacco itself is not such a bad thing. It's what they add to it. It's the carcinogens, the preservatives, all of that stuff that they add to the tobacco before it gets to you. Because even if you buy like a pouch of tobacco to roll your own cigarettes, it's still going to be treated with stuff that is going to dull your senses. Everybody knows, like, your sense of smell kind of goes away. So my husband switched to vaping too. He lost his smoker's cough. It seems like our colds last, the duration of our colds that we get are shorter. And it is, during a cold, it probably sucks more to vape than to smoke a cigarette. But it seems like it clears up the phlegm, like it dries you out a little. And that is a thing, you do have to hydrate. Another thing I've noticed is that my kids no longer smell like smoke, and they also don't smell like my vape juice. So knowing that their clothes smell like smoke, that my kid smells like smoke, that tells you that secondhand is getting to them, you know. So vaping has only been around for, like, I guess 10 years maybe. So they don't have the research to back up the claims that they can make about tobacco. Tobacco's got decades upon decades. Um, Doctors used to tell women to smoke so they wouldn't gain so much weight while they were pregnant. You know, there's doctors would recommend it to lose weight, and various other reasons. Hell, doctors would smoke in the exam room. They were doing all that kind of shit. So when I decided to switch, I said, I don't care about popcorn lung or what might happen, because smoking a cigarette, I've got the same concerns about cancer and, emphysema. I mean, that's harmful. Cigarettes are harmful to me. Is vaping gonna kill me? Maybe. Cigarettes might kill me, if I smoke cigarettes. I mean, and then you can do nothing. And I mean, here's the thing, most of the time, the cancer caused by smoking is curable. Whereas you meet people who get cancer that's incurable, and they've never smoked. They're not drinkers. They haven't done anything, and they get a cancer that's going to kill them. You know, there's no rhyme or reason to it. So I decided to vape just simply so that I wouldn't be spreading my smoke to people who don't want to be around it. I wanted to be respectful of them, and I wanted to have something that I could do in my house without worrying about, well, it's going to gunk up the walls. Because, I mean, seriously, when you smoke in your house, like if you take a steamer to a wall, oh my God, like the orange that comes off your wall. And think that's all like in your lungs and stuff. Now, vaping, if my husband would notice a little bit of a film on the inside of his window because he would vape with the windows up. I've never found any film on the windows of my vehicle, but I always have the window cracked a little bit. I guess I'm a little claustrophobic, or it's just that I have always driven with the window down a little bit. It's just like habit. Um, Always, because remember, I started smoking at 12, so by the time I was driving, I was a full-on pack-a-day smoker. Um, and outlawing vaping. Why didn't they ever outlaw cigarettes, huh? That makes me think that this guy is getting some kind of kickback. When they do all this anti-vape legislation, when they have no good, solid evidence that it's more harmful than cigarettes, like it's killing people within 5 years of starting, you know, why is why not outlaw smoking? Because they know they can't. You know, it's like outlawing drinking, and the thing is kids get a hold of these things. Teenagers get these things. Some parents provide these things for their kids. You know, if my, this has never happened, but I always used to say, because I grew up with really, really strict parents, I always used to say, if my kid gets to where they are really like wanting to, they're really thinking about, ooh, I wonder what it's like to drink, they're getting really curious and stuff. I was always like, I'll let them get really shitty drunk at my house. I will give them some alcohol and let them get shitty drunk, like to the sick point where they're puking their guts up, And some people would have a problem with that, but the way I see it is it's better that I allow it in my home than they go test out drinking at a place that they shouldn't be. I mean, I went to a party and got sick. All kinds of things could have happened to me. That night, somebody actually went to the hospital for alcohol overdose. You know, there were no parents there. And so when I think about my kids trying drinking the first time or any time, I want them to know how incapacitated it can make them, to where maybe they'll think it's probably not such a good idea for me to drink with everybody, you know. And I mean, I've got lots of stories of bad things that happen to young ladies and young men when they go to parties and drink. And these kids are not 18. They're not 21. They're like 15, 14. I think I was 13 when I went to that party. So it might make somebody a bad parent to say that they'll let their kids smoke weed with them or drink, but it's in your house. See, the government's got there are too many people trying to control what people do. Granted, nobody should give crystal meth to a teenager. Crystal meth, in particular, that particular drug, they have found in studies that people who have used that before the age of 18 it stunts their emotional growth. It literally makes them irresponsible human beings. And they're like kids in the head. It is bad for their mental development to do it before the age of 18. There are no studies on, like, I don't know about studies on cocaine, heroin, and all that kind of stuff. But that stuff, I would never give anything like that to a kid. Ever. Because, I mean, it's one thing, like they're gonna find weed. I never had trouble finding it. From the time I was 13, I knew people smoking it. I knew people who were drinking. Those are things that are really easy for a kid to get access to. But I'm for, just as those of you who have, there's none of you out there that have watched me before. Never mind. If anybody is watching this, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I take the libertarian approach to drugs, that it should all be legal, and people get arrested for the shit that they do while they're fucked up. So, if you've got a garage in your backyard, and you say, I'm going out to the garage, and you stay in that garage while you're high as fuck on whatever the fuck you want to get high as fuck on, and you don't bother anybody, good on you. I don't think that should be illegal. If you are keeping to yourself and you are not affecting anybody else. And some would say, well, what about, their work dependability and all this other kind of stuff that hurts their family or their absence or whatever. Well, if they want to do that shit, they're going to do that shit. And if they're told that, hey, as long as you do it in a way that doesn't affect anybody, have at it. And lots of people grow up with alcoholic parents who don't go out to a shed and get shitty drunk. No, they do it right in front of them. And then their kids end up being alcoholics, or their kids end up 10 million kinds of... I mean, it's a given that their kids are going to end up fucked up. Because you cannot live with an alcoholic, grow up with an alcoholic, and not be fucked up in some way. Because most alcoholics are not, like, good people when they're fucked up. They're just not. Most of the time, you've got that they're either blowing all their money on booze, and their kids suffer from not having it. Plus, they're setting an example Your kids learn how to be adults by how they see you act. So they figure an adult gets shitty drunk, you know. But if you're a social drinker, they say, hey, mom only drinks when this person's over and they drink together. So I have to have a friend to drink with. You know, I mean, they learn from you. They learn how to handle the stresses of life. And if they see you getting mad and doing specific things like you get mad and you beat your wife, they say, okay, I get mad, I pound into somebody. You know, I mean, they learn from that. And even if, like, that kid that grows up in that abusive home says, I am never hitting another person, I'm not going to do that. And a lot of them can manage to never beat on somebody, but they're still fucked up. You know, they still got issues. They still, unless they've had tons of counseling, they don't know how to handle those feelings because the way that they saw it handled is not the way you're supposed to handle it. And it's the same with drug use, you know. I mean, even if the person who does crystal meth doesn't do it in front of their kid, like if they've got a special place they go, when they come back in and they're acting a certain way, the kids figure it out. It's not it's not a secret. It's not really something you can keep from them if you're around them when you're messed up. Now, if you're around them when you're not, no harm, no foul. And there are people with crystal meth, I think it's a little bit harder, but there are people who are functioning alcoholics, functioning crack addicts, functioning cocaine addicts, functioning heroin addicts. There are those. And there are some people who can be functioning crystal meth users, because I can't call them addicts because they're not addicts. But most of the time that particular drug gets its hooks in you so bad that being a functional crystal meth addict is just not really possible. But it should be legal as long as they don't break any laws. If they can keep to themselves and not fuck with people, then let them have it. So I really don't like the idea of people telling me, you know, like people in my state saying, you know, we're going to make this illegal. And it's like, who am I hurting? Who am I hurting? Why can't I do something because some kids are getting into some stuff when kids are going to do what the fuck they want anyway? They're going to figure it out. That kind of shit just pisses me off. You know, I mean, it's like, it's freaking vape. If you're going to outlaw vaping, then outlaw cigarettes, outlaw chewing tobacco, outlaw beer, all of that. Get rid of all of it if you're going to tell me I can't fucking vape. You know. So there's that. Have a nice night.